How's it going, guys? My name's Shane. Welcome back to the Horror Basement, and today I have another installment in the classic horror review series for you. Today we're going to be talking about The Ape from 1940. Now, this movie primarily follows Dr. Adrian, who's played by the legendary Boris Karloff, and the purpose of this mad scientist's endeavors is to cure paraplegia. Uh, Under Dr. Adrian's care is a young lady by the name of Frances, who, due to some prior illness, has lost the ability to use her legs. Uh, Presumably, it was polio or some kind of similar leg-destroying injury. So right now, what Dr. Adrian is working on is stealing all the stray dogs from the neighborhood, and presumably paralyzing half of them so that he can try and give them back use of their hind legs by giving these dogs injections of spinal fluid, which he takes from other dogs that he's stolen. So if this was made today in less sensitive times, we would have a scene of Boris Karloff stealing these little puppies from around the neighborhood and karate chopping half of them, as so to cause paraplegia of the rear limbs. But while Dr. Francis is working on this, the neighborhood mechanic, who is sweet on Frances, takes her out to the circus. And after the circus is concluded, the other main character of this movie, a gorilla named Naboo, manages to escape and in the process kill his abusive handler. Now it's assumed that from here the rest of the movie would be Naboo the gorilla rampaging through the rural countryside and killing at will, as of course a gorilla would if left out in the wild. But unfortunately for this gorilla, he happens upon the house of Dr. Adrian, who has just finished extracting the spinal fluid of the abusive animal handler, as to give to Francis for his first human trial. And because Boris Karloff is badass, as soon as this gorilla breaks into his laboratory, Dr. Adrian throws acid in the gorilla's face and then stabs it to death. So the rest of the movie is, spoilers by the way, is actually Dr. Adrian going around town, dressed as the gorilla, killing more people, in order to get more spinal fluid to help Francis. And this all concludes in stereotypical monster movie fashion, where the group of shotgun-toting townsfolk, in lieu of the traditional pitchfork-wielding mob, manages to gun down Dr. Adrian on the front steps of his home, and right as he is unmasked as the gorilla is when Frances finally gets out of her wheelchair and takes her first steps to come comfort Dr. Adrian in his dying moments. So one thing that struck me as interesting about this is that the movie actually clearly delineates, it kind of shows its hand, because when it is actually Naboo, the gorilla, he's moving around in a pretty convincing, gorilla-like fashion, on all fours. And then after Dr. Adrian kills Naboo and presumably just, skins this gorilla and somehow, fashions a suit out of its fur, which I'm not sure how that would work if one attempted to actually do it. It certainly wouldn't look the same as it did in the movie. But from that point on, the gorilla is moving completely bipedally, kind of to help the audience along in the fact that this is Dr. Adrian, the guy who we just saw stab this gorilla to death. So overall, I wasn't too impressed with this movie. Unfortunately, other than the gorilla suit, which is, I guess, pretty good for its time, Dr. Adrian, played by Boris Karloff, is the only interesting and convincing character, and because he's trying to help poor old Francis learn to walk again, and because all of the townspeople he is mauling are boring one-note hillbilly characters, you kind of end up rooting for Dr. Adrian dressed as a gorilla in kind of almost like a Jason Voorhees-esque kind of way. But yeah, other than the kitschy kind of Scooby-Doo style ending and Boris Karloff putting in an admirable performance given the movie he was in, not a whole lot to see here, but if you're a Boris Karloff superfan, I suppose you can give this a watch. That's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, hit that subscribe button for more, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.